while ago, I was able to sit down with Steve Savarese, Executive Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. We caught up on all kinds of things, and we'll bring you those stories in the future. But today we want to focus on COVID-19, how it's affected football and other fall sports, and where we're going leading into the playoffs. Well, Coach Savarese, thank you so much for being with us here today to just catch us up on things at the association and life in general in 2020.
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Look forward to it.
Good. Okay, well, first of all, let's start with how do you think that the new football protocols related to COVID-19 have been received and adhered to by the schools?
Well, because of our member schools, we think everything has been awesome. We have always tried to take COVID-19 one day at a time. Since March 16th, when we were made aware that all of our schools were closing and our activities would cease, this staff has done an awesome job. They've all worked so hard for that day when we could renew. Starting with June, when we began back June the 8th just for workouts, not knowing what June 15th held the next week, one day at a time. I'm very grateful to our medical advisory board. We could have never got through this situation without the leadership of Dr. James Robinson, Dr. Jeff Dugas, and the entire medical advisory board. They have, anytime we've requested information from them, they've been there for us to provide us the latest information, not only to our staff, but to our Central Board of Control. So with everyone working together, especially our schools, our administration, we've been able to return to some sense of normalcy. But we couldn't do this without our schools. They, again, have just been awesome.
Wonderful, good. Well, specifically speaking of football, I know that there's been a whole host of new processes and procedures this year. The extension of the sidelines box, ball cleaning procedures, number of fans at each game, etc. Tell us which of these new rules have come from the association, which have come from the state of Alabama, Board of Education, and even the National Federation.
Well, most of the rules, I guess you would say the changes to any rules have come from the National Federation of State High School Associations, NFHS, who is our rule-making governing body. And they have a medical advisory board who made recommendations to them, who then provided us that information, and we adopted those rule changes almost immediately. Our board did. There have been other rule changes that have been suggested to us by our task force. We had 4 task force we put together immediately to hear from our coaches, to hear from our administrators in fall, winter sports, so on. And they all provided us needed information. They're at the schools every day. They know exactly what's happening, as well as the State Department of Education. Dr. Eric Mackey, the State Superintendent of Schools, has been wonderful. He and I, along with Ryan Hollingsworth, the head of the Superintendent Association, Vic Wilson, head of class or our Principals Association, we were on weekly and sometimes daily calls to put all the information together. And I want to really thank Dr. Scott Harris. Dr. Harris has been wonderful from the State Department of Public Health in providing us information anytime we need it. This was a collaborative effort between so many people working together, with the benefactor being our students. Nobody at any one time said, no, we can't do this. It was, let's find a way how to do this.
And it shows, it really does show what a team effort it's really been. With COVID, have there been any changes to athlete transfer eligibility rules?
Not really.
Okay.
One of our rules changed last year, allowing anyone, don't tell your grandfather this up in heaven now, but one of the rule changes was to allow anyone JV or below to participate if they didn't make a bona fide move. If you participate on the varsity level, you have to make a bona fide move. That rule enabled more students to participate. I always remind everybody, we're in the business of making kids eligible, not ineligible. We get accused of the other, but why? We've been in sports our entire life. We know the benefits of educational athletics. We want children to participate. So I was really glad to see that rule change, but other rules have remained the same.
Okay, great. Well, Given all the challenges of this year, how are the football playoffs going to look different?
Well, I hope not too different, except for fan attendance. We again will comply with the Alabama Department of Public Health, the governor's health order. That, in saying that, that will change possibly November 8th. So today, the only thing that you will see different, whether it's volleyball, swimming, cross country, or football, will be the number of fans who attend, but we will have generally very similar events.
Okay, and a lot of teams have had to forfeit games this year because of COVID. How is that going to affect the rankings and therefore affect the playoffs?
Well, I always say we have 97.5% of our schools are playing each week. So very few have forfeits in the scope of the number, where we may have 10 or 12 a week, or we had maybe 13 schools decide they would not participate in any fall sports. The majority of our schools are playing. Forfeits count on their record just like any other forfeit, and we will continue to take the top 4 to all playoffs.
Good. Well, you mentioned volleyball. How do you feel like volleyball as well as other fall sports have adjusted to the new rules and regulations?
Well, again, because of the leadership, first of all, of our staff, under Denise Ainsworth is the director of volleyball. She's assisted by Kim Vickers. They have done an awesome job meeting with their committees, taking input from our coaches. Susan, our coaches are just happy to have a playoff. And when we started this, so many coaches called and said to me, Coach, it's not about the winning, we just want our kids to play. Well, I got to tell you, it's transitioning now to a little bit more about winning now as we get closer to the playoffs. But Denise and Kim and our coaches, administrators, put together a platform to allow our students to play. We've had to extend our championships by a day because of crowd limitations. We do want mamas and daddies and grandparents to be able to watch their kids play. So we added another day. We love it. We wish we competed every day. So we'll have those challenges, but they'll look pretty similar, just take a little longer to complete.
That's great. Well, thank you. It seems like you really have kept you've majored on the majors, and you've kept the main thing, and I know that everybody across the state appreciates that. So speak in that light, speak of the importance of high school sports and leading us all back into a sense of normalcy.
Well, we needed something to rally around. I mean, everybody had gotten into a doldrum. Kids, their mental health was affected because they didn't know what tomorrow had. And once we started athletics back, it gave everyone something to shoot for, something to look forward to. And then once we started playing, even though COVID is very important and it's real, it gave our schools and our kids and our teachers, our administrators, something other than COVID to look forward to. And we found a way to coexist, and we think it's worked pretty well.